Your hosts, Landon and Jade, are a married couple of 17 years and counting, are here to give you a swift kick in the ass. There will be some tough love, but we are here to support you to the greatest life you can have. We will bring the sarcasm and humor. You just bring yourself. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Backroads to Us podcast. Today, we're going to go over some advice. Good, bad, I don't know. It's going to be advice. You let us know what you feel about it. So I'm sure some of you men out there, some of you ladies are going to connect with some of these. They're going to be pretty accurate. Let's see how accurate they are for us. It said, married couples never apologize after an argument. They just ask dumb questions to get back on good terms, like, was the stove still in the kitchen when you went in there? Okay. That is... Seriously? I think I've done that before. It's like you're testing the waters to make sure if they're mad or not. So you say something totally dumb just to hear if they're going to say something. And trust me, if Landon were still mad, you would probably just ignore me 100% and not say anything. So I think that's pretty accurate. No comment? No? Yeah, because he knows it's true. Behind every angry woman stands a man who has absolutely no idea what he did wrong. I'm usually not that mad.
Yeah, you don't get mad that often.
Lucky him.
Yeah.
So it should be switched. It should say behind every angry man stands a woman who has absolutely no idea what she did wrong. Let's just say behind every Landon is a Jade who has no idea what she did wrong. But he will tell her, so I will find out. Trust me. If your significant other is mad at you, put a cape on them and say, now you're super mad. If they laugh, marry them. Nah, 100%. If that would not ever work, it would be like DEFCON 5 if we tried that. Like in my head, I can see that, and that would be 100% hilarious, and I would die laughing, but I don't see you having any jokes with that.
I've got no humor when I'm mad.
Nah, not at all. And I'm the type who will laugh in the middle of an argument because I realize how dumb we look having an argument. Or it's just like it never stops. And then I'm like, okay, that just makes him even more mad. And it's... Okay, so there's your advice right there. Don't laugh during an argument. Just don't. Never ends well. Okay, so it says, her dad. Are you treating my little princess okay? Me. Sir, your little princess has anger issues and throws hands like an inmate. Yes, things are fantastic. I think every dad thinks their daughter is a princess. And then you get every husband who's like, you don't know your child at all. Was I dad like that with me?
Oh, yeah. I think every dad's like that with their, technically their first daughter, basically. I mean, that's the way it is. But, I mean, you get the comment that your dad says you start to act like me. So he says, I'm wearing off on you, but whatever.
I've never really found out if that's a good or a bad thing. I think it depends on the situation or the conversation. Okay, these are some goods. But it says married 10 years. So one of them is expectations will ruin a marriage. Exponentially so if there's no communication. And 2, assume nothing. Your spouse is not in your brain, cannot read your mind, cannot interpret passive aggressiveness with the intent that you're trying to deliver. 3, your spouse is not responsible for your happiness, and you are not responsible for your spouse's happiness. 4, get a hobby and make sure they have a hobby. Separate your own, have a hobby together, but also have something for yourself. 5, keep your relationship private. If you have issues with your spouse, bring it to them. Not Facebook, not Reddit, not your mom. Take it to your spouse. Keep your troubles, dirty laundry, stress, issues between the two of you. And 6, listen to understand, not to solve the problem. You're not Ben and Jerry's. You cannot solve all the problems. Just listen. You end up doing a world of good if you just reassure the other that you're available to them. Now, those ones are some good ones because those ones I think we've talked about in some of our other episodes about keeping your relationship private, not going out and telling everybody because it's not anybody's business, nor does it help to have a peanut gallery telling you anything because they're not in your life. They don't know what's going on. And sometimes, having a husband who just wants to listen, the ones when you talk about, I've heard people say when they want to vent to their significant other, the other one asks, okay, do you want my advice or do you just want to like vent? And I think sometimes that's true, and that's awesome, because there's sometimes that you don't want them to fix the problem. That's a husband's main thing, is you tell them usually they want to fix it. They go, okay, well, let's fix this. And sometimes you just want to just vent, get it out, and then you're done. And then you don't ever talk about it again. Life moves on. It was just a shitty day at work, and you do that. And I think that's a great thing. Sometimes you just need to listen. It's not always going to be the case, but sometimes it is. I like how it says your spouse is not responsible for your happiness, and you're not responsible for your spouse's happiness. I think you add to each other's happiness, but I do not feel that you are responsible for their happiness. I don't feel like you have to take full responsibility for their life. They're still an individual person. You guys are just a couple together trying to go through life. But I wouldn't put... I just don't like those spouses that say, well, my life sucks because of you, because you did this to me, or...
Oh, yeah, that's a cop-out.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like if you're not happy, that's your responsibility, whether because what they're doing isn't what you wanted, then speak up and discuss it. But don't ever just say, well, you're the one who makes me hate my life. You're the one who makes me unhappy. I think, like you said, that's a cop-out. I think it's a load of crap.
And most of the time it's because they're not happy with themselves.
100%.
For whatever reason, but they got to blame somebody. They can't take any responsibility for their own issue, so they're blaming someone else.
I feel like they project a lot too. Like you said, it's because they're not happy, so they're projecting their unhappiness and saying, well, you're doing this, when in all reality it's them.
They got to have somebody to blame. They can't, there's no way it's them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's easier just to set the blame on somebody else. And the other thing, assume nothing. Your spouse is not in your brain, can't read your mind. I know after you've been married for so long, you kind of assume you know what the other one does. You know each other well enough that you know what they're thinking for the most part. But I think sometimes being married as long as we have, we assume it because it's been common, and then the one time you do is when maybe it's not the way we were thinking or feeling. And then that can start an argument because you assumed someone said it because they felt this way, or they were saying something and you just didn't understand it, but you assumed you knew what they were talking about.
Well, I mean,
and then
that can, be on a bunch of different levels. As simple as like, if I ask you to shovel the driveway when it's snowing and then you don't do it the way I wanted it done, well, whose fault is that? I mean, if I didn't explain it and show you how I wanted it done and you just assumed how I wanted it done, or I assumed that you knew, that's my fault. If I want it done a certain way, then I need to show you how I do it or how I like it done so that you understand. And then if you still don't do it right, then okay, then there's a problem, but I actually explained it. So you can't just assume someone understands the way you want it done. Just because you think it needs to be done that way doesn't mean another individual will see it the same way. So if you can't explain it well, then that's your fault. So don't just assume that your spouse understands this is the way you want this chore done or this chore done, or it doesn't even have to be a chore. I mean, it could be a lot of different situations, that you could assume you want to meet somewhere, you just whatever it is. If you don't explain it, that's your fault.
And I think that's makes me get the one we talked about, love languages. Like if a woman comes and says, hey, I want to feel more love from you. I want more attention. Well, the person's going to give it to them in whatever way they think it is, because they didn't say, I specifically want it. Like, I'm not feeling like we communicate well. I want more conversations. Well, maybe he goes in and touches her more, holds her hand more. Well, you think you're giving love. She doesn't feel it because you assumed, well, if I do this, she's going to get it. That's what, like you said, it's just assuming never really works out well. So just be clear about what it is you want. And if you don't explain it well, take responsibility for it. Say, you know what? That was my fault. I didn't explain it well. Let's do it this way next time. Okay, so hold your wife's hand in the mall, because if you let go, she'll start shopping. It looks romantic, but it's actually economic. Yeah, I keep thinking of the one, Kevin Hart, the meme they go, and he goes, look over here, over here. And he's like whistling at him and tell him to come back. He's like, I feel like that's how it is when we go somewhere. We don't hold hands, but I'll be walking. You just did it today. And you're like, don't stop, keep going. And now that does irritate me more. And then I want to stop more, but...
Yeah, it's because we go shopping or we're going into the store for this one thing. I'm going to go in, I'm going to get it, and I'm going to leave, and you have to stop and wander and, no, we came into the store for this. Let's get it and leave. There was no other reason to come in here, but then we're going to leave with shit we don't need.
Yeah, but maybe we didn't know we needed it until we saw it.
Yes, we did. We knew. Because before we went into the store, we said, what are we here for? We're here for this. That's all we need. We went over this.
Okay,
Then we walk into the store and let's leave.
Yeah,
We gotta need to wander around in here for an hour.
Yeah, but I don't like the game. See, I love going shopping by myself. Love it. Because I can wander.
See, and it's not the fact of losing you holding your hand in the store. It's to pull you along, or I walk faster than you, and it's to keep you with me.
Well, we both know where the cash register is when we're done. We'll meet there eventually. No, see, I learned that early in marriage. Don't get lost in the store. And I'm not lost. I mean, I'm wandering, but if we lose eye contact and you don't know where I am, and then he has to search for me, he's like 5 levels of anger. Like he's already past it because he's been going down aisles looking for me. And when he can't find me, by the time he gets to me, where were you? I was 1 aisle over, but you just missed me. And then yeah, anger of not finding. Yeah, I feel like you miss out on a lot of good stuff when you don't do that. Like you'll ask me, you're gonna go to the store and say, do you want anything? Do you need anything? No, I don't. Or I'll say, well, surprise me with something.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. You either can tell me what you want or you're not getting anything. I'm not surprising you. Because I'll buy the wrong thing or something you didn't want. So you either tell me or you're not getting
If
it.
it's a surprise, how can it be wrong?
No.
It's not, but
It's not the way that works.
It's a surprise. I don't know what I want. I just want something. That's the problem, is that a lot of things, I don't know. I just want something. You can't even try?
No.
Doesn't like failure. I thought you knew me well enough. Married this long. All right. The whole point of a relationship is to set your partner free. I like that because I think when you get in a relationship, you get a lot of people that feel like they're trapped. They're locked down, the old ball and chain, which is, a joke because you're all married. But when you're with someone that you love and care for, they're supposed to be your big supporter. They're supposed to be the one saying, you can do this, let's do this. Your biggest cheerleader. So they're supposed to be able to set you free, make you want to do more, become better, do more things. I think that's a good advice because if you see yourself going the other way, then you maybe need to reevaluate your relationship and see if your partner is actually trying to help you or if they're holding you down. And it could be that your partner is helping you. You are the one holding yourself down. So I think personally and in relationships, I think that's a good thing to see. Do you feel free with this person? Do you feel like you can do anything with them? And if you don't, then maybe you need to look that. Do you feel like feeling that feeling? Maybe not. Maybe you don't connect with free as much, but
I don't know. I mean, like I said, if your spouse has something that they're wanting to do or some idea or some business idea or just, I don't care, whatever it is, if you need to be able to sit down and talk and be supportive of it. I mean, some of this stuff may be just out of the realm of whatever you're capable of doing or affording doing or whatever. But if it's something that's in the realm of, hey, we can actually make this work or we can try it this, then yeah, why not support it? Because if maybe that's something that your spouse has dreamed about doing or really wants to accomplish or something. So what is it hurting to let them try or be supportive to that matter? So, I mean, I guess, there's some things that people want to do that's just probably out of the realm of what's imaginable or what's affordable. But I mean, generally on most stuff, if there's a will, there's a way. You're going to find out how to do it if you want to do it bad enough. Okay. So it's the supportive thing is super important, I think.
And I think it goes for the other way too. If you feel free in your emotions, if you feel like you can't be yourself around your spouse, if you're hiding some of your tendencies, just some of your personalities because you don't feel like they'll get it or it irritates them, I think that's another red flag too. If you feel like when you're with them, you're always kind of wound up a little tight. You got to be careful what you say, how you do things. I think your spouse, when you come home, you want to let the day go. You want to be able to be in your safe place, and your husband, your relationship should be your safe place. So if you can't be you, then I don't feel like that's the right, because when I come home, if I want to, I don't know, some of the shit we do together, like, we're dumb. Some of the stuff we do, but I like it because I can be as weird as I want to be normally, and I don't feel like I'm going to be judged, or I can be as sad as I want to be, and I don't feel like I'm going to get judged by it because my emotions are allowed to be what they are. I don't have to do anything crazy with them. So I think it can go physically, emotionally, with both on all that. And I like this one that says, I think you have to live through what love is not before you can truly appreciate what love is. I think sometimes it's relationships. Sometimes you're going to go through relationships that weren't good. You learned a lot about yourself, about other people in general, and you realized what's good, what's not. And so when you get into a relationship, you can actually see that this relationship is great, this is good. But I think sometimes you find that out in your marriage. You maybe not don't find that out before, but in marriage, as you're growing, you're learning. So you're finding out in a marriage, well, doing this doesn't show love to the other person. I don't feel love, so let's change it and let's grow and be better here. So I feel like you can do that in a relationship. Some people will take that, and that's where they go to divorce.
Well, yeah, I mean, a marriage is I think it's a constant learning situation. You're never going to know everything about it or everything to do at every given moment. So it is a constant growth and learning situation that you're going to have to grow and adapt to all the time because things change when society, things change with opinions, things change with how you grow and different things you like. So, I mean, your marriage is going to change and grow all the time, which is different learning experiences. So you can't ever say that you know everything about marriage. I mean, someone that's been married 40, 50 years, they've got a lot of experience and advice, but a lot of the advice that may not work for you because of the way your marriage is and the way, you know, your situation is and how you're growing. Someone that's been married 10 years may have some great advice for someone that's been married 50. It's just, it's a constant learning curve there that not everybody knows the secret to it and what the 100% right way to do it is, because I don't think there's a 100% right way. Everybody's going to do it different, and
Yeah.
it's whatever works for them.
Yeah, and that's part of the learning and growing is finding out what works for you and quieting the noise of everybody else because they may say for sure this is what works in a marriage. And me and Landon could look at each other and say, no, that doesn't work for us. We don't connect with that. And it's not right or wrong. It's just what works for us. And again,
And
that's
you got to take
learning.
the time to figure that out,
Yes.
because you can't just go off of what we're doing or say what your parents are doing or what some of your friends are doing, because you may try that and it may not work. That may not be how you guys are wired and how you guys connect. So you have to try things and be able to admit defeat and try something new until
Yeah.
it works.
And there's one that I hear that it says, divorce isn't an option. When you're mad, you go to bed. We'll wake up. We'll work on it again. It's basically the fact of just because you get in an argument or you're mad or you feel like there's no end in sight because you can't figure out how to love each other the right way, you don't just end it and say, well, that's just too bad, I guess it just didn't work. You could, and a lot of people do, but I feel like people aren't allowed to have that space to figure it out while they're married. Like, marriage is forever. You can't expect there to be it constantly up. You're gonna have ups, downs, but you work through it. You continue to move through it, and then you see marriages get stronger and stronger and stronger through it. I mean, your love gets bigger, and when things happen, they're not so intense anymore. I just feel like people give up way too easy because again, it's easier to give up, and they think that if I get in a different relationship, it's gonna be better, and we see how that turns out. Usually, it's not, but it could be. Okay, so marriage tip. Your wife won't start an argument when you're cleaning. That's a lie. I will start an argument if you do it wrong. And so would you. You would start an argument. Yeah. No. No, yeah. No. I don't, I don't like that one. I mean, yes, I appreciate if you clean, but we've set our chores separate now. To he does this and I do this because there's some things that he doesn't do the way I want, and I won't do the things the way he wants.
Oh yeah, and I mean
And,
my
ugh.
personality is if I'm cleaning, helping out, and then all of a sudden there's an argument because you're doing it wrong, I'm just going to put it down and walk away and be like, then you do it.
And then you have. That's exactly what happens.
It's simple enough. Like, I'm not going to argue about it, but I'm not going to do it then. I'm going to do it this way or I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. And there were plenty of, I mean, who wants to have an argument while they're cleaning? Cleaning is already just something you got to do to get it done. I don't want to have an argument about it. So we found this is what he does great. I don't do so great there. So he gets those chores. I get these chores. And then it's great. And then we're not mad because no one's doing their chores. There's not, yeah. No, just like when we clean our vehicles, I want to do the inside because I want it done how I like it. I'm more anal on the inside. You're more anal on the outside. So you're picky on the outside. I'm picky on the inside. So we each do those certain parts. And it works out great. Because I don't want an argument. We've learned from that. But the other best marriage advice right here, it says if you have to fight, do it naked. No. No. I'm not. That doesn't work. Like people say that like the angry sex, after you get mad or just if you just show them your boobs and they're going to, the argument will stop. No, it will not. Not with this guy. If I'm married to a guy when he's mad and we're going to have an argument and I don't care what the hell's going on, you would literally throw something at me to make me put my clothes on so we could have an argument. It might work for you guys. It doesn't work for me. So, before you marry a person, you should first make them use a computer with slow internet to see who they really are. Well, guess what, guys? We got married. Well, we were in high school together when we had to use the dial-up internet. So we've known each other through those phases. So, which I think you had more calm in the dial-up internet phase than you do now with the phone phase.
Well, yeah, because
it's
now
supposed to
when
be
this phase is supposed to be
instant.
fast, and then when it's not, you're like, what the hell is going on with this? I mean, it's supposed to be that way. When you had dial-up, you're expecting it. I'm expecting to open my phone and it just be there. And when it doesn't, it's like I'm going to throw it.
Yeah, so dial-up, you guys, if anyone's young who's listening to this, dial-up and then hearing that tone of waiting for it to dial, oh, that's like a trigger to hear that. And you hear that, oh my gosh, I hated that so much. And that was the only way you could communicate. We didn't have text message. You had to get onto what, AOL Messenger or something?
MSN
Messenger. And you just hoped they were on. There was the green thing and you could talk to people. That was back when, phones had cords. And you actually had to, like, stand in one place when someone called. And then people would trip over you because you were sitting on the ground with the phone cord wrapped around you because you couldn't move very far, like 5 feet. Yeah. That was when we knew each other from the beginning. So, been there, done that. All right, marriage. Betting someone half your stuff that you'll love them forever. It's very true, isn't it? Half your stuff. Think about that. If you're going to marry someone, would you be willing to give them half your stuff now and forever? If you're not, don't marry them. Or have them sign a prenup, I guess. But okay, marriage sexting. I'm not wearing any underwear because you didn't put the fucking laundry in the dryer like I asked you to 100 times. That's yeah. Our levels of texting from when you're dating to when you're married. Oh, yeah, that's 100% different. Like it says dating text. Baby, I don't feel good. Marriage text. I've had diarrhea 7 times today. Yeah, that's 100% right. Or how about marriage is equal parts I would die without you, and for the love of God, did you have to sneeze like that? I feel like that's all we do in a marriage is we just freaking make fun of each other, and you get irritated. Seriously, with the way you sneeze, it's like, did you have to freaking scream it? In marriage is knowing each other's buttons and pressing them repeatedly when bored. That is you. To a T. He likes to press
buttons. If it
buttons.
wouldn't bug you, it wouldn't get punched.
Well, stop doing it. Give me a break to get used to it.
17 years to get used to it.
But you don't ever stop pushing the buttons. The buttons are always in yellow.
Because they work.
They never go... I'm always on red with you.
If you pushed a button and it didn't do anything, you'd stop pushing it.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah,
You would
because
just
it
find
doesn't
another
work.
way to push it. That's a lie. He enjoys it way too much. Okay, cheating is not an accident. Falling off a bike is an accident. You didn't trip and fall into a vagina. I hate that. When people get when you hear the stories and like, it was an accident, or nah, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. When you cheat, you know when your dick goes into the vagina, you know what you were doing. And you know it wasn't your wife. Or I don't care. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I've heard it. It's like, just say you chose to do that. And any woman who takes that as okay and takes him back, you're stupid. Don't do that. Okay, so let's see. Married date nights. Went to Lowe's and bought a toilet. Seriously, if you go late night during the week or even like on a Saturday and you see those couples walking around, that's literally what they're doing. They're in Home Depot and they're looking at freaking toilets or the bathtubs, or the husband's got a mad look on his face because his wife's pulling out 10 pieces of wood that he knows he has to cut and he's mad about it. Like that's marriage. You're gonna do the most mundane things all the time together. And it's lovely. Like, really think about that. If you had to go buy a freaking toilet and you had to go by yourself, that would suck. I don't know anything about toilets. I need a second opinion. I need the muscle to go do it. No. I enjoy having you there to buy my toilets. Okay. Can't say I'm tired without my husband making it a competition of who's the most tired and who has more reasons to be. If one of us says we're tired, well, I got up at this time, or I did this all day, or I did this, every time. It really doesn't matter what it is. That happens a lot. And then we just both look at each other and we're just like, okay, fine, we're tired. Got it. Like, interesting. Okay, marriage is where you gasp while your husband is driving and he gets super annoyed over and over until you die. Okay, let's just point that out. Landon hates that. Landon hates the and I'm really bad at it. Like, if a bird's in the way, I gasp just because it's a bird. And then Landon's like, Jade, it flies away, you'll be fine. But don't yell in the car. Like, don't be like, car, or move, something. Don't do that. Landon, that's an argument. Like, that's a trigger point. So I have learned, if I just say in a calm manner, car, I don't know why you hear that, because in a normal setting, you would not hear me say anything. But in the car, if I'm quiet and monotone, you'll like slam on the brakes and I'm like, car, brake slam. I don't get it. But again, that was an argument for another time, a long time ago. And I got yelled at because I think I yelled car or something, or whatever I did, and I got yelled at. So now I just calmly say car, and then he stops, and life is fine. So dating romance is like, I made dinner reservations at the Italian place and bought tickets to that show you've been dying to see. Now, marriage romance is, I cleaned up the dog puke, picked up your pills, bought the new scrubby sponge you said looked super cool. Isn't that 100%? That is dating romance to marriage romance. Because those things mean so much more when you buy them. Like you said, the little sponge that looked cool, went and picked up their pills and ran all the errands. That's a love language to me. You do that for me.
Yeah, you seem to like that.
I do. I hate running errands. I hate them. I don't like them. And Landon goes and does it and picks stuff up on his day off. And we still, I laugh because this is 100% accurate. But what you need to do is still try to pull that dating romance back in. You want to have both sides of this, because when you're dating and it's all, oh, let's go out to dinner, let's roses and flowers and all this lovey stuff. When all of a sudden it flips and you're into the marriage stuff, you look at the marriage stuff as inconsequential. You say just like that, I cleaned up the dog puke, I picked up your pills. You just go, well, you should. We're married. You have to do that. And it's like, no, I don't have to. But then you're mad because, well, you didn't take me out for dinner. You didn't buy me roses for just because. Does any man ever buy roses just because?
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe there's other ones like that. But what we've learned is we definitely did the dating thing. And when you get married, you're trying to learn each other. And so I think kind of the dating goes away. And we've talked about this before, where you need to still date your spouse. So when you were dating them, if you did certain things, keep doing it. set date nights with each other, because while doing all these little things in a marriage is a love language and it is romantic in a way because you're doing all these nice things, you also need the other side of it too, to make you realize how special those things are on both sides. I think it gives you perspective of these things are really great, nice, and then guess what? We get to go have a nice night together. We get to go dress up and go out and just concentrate on each other. I think you need both of those, and well, I think that's quite hilarious because that is marriage. Just try to give yourself a little bit of both, and I think it'll keep you both happy. First year of marriage. I love waking up next to you. 10th year of marriage. Next time your snoring keeps me up all night, I'll smother you with this pillow. I think I said that to you the other day. I think that's almost learning when you sound like your parents. When your parents' marriage, like you don't realize how much. I don't know. When you're a kid, you know, when your parents are married and they basically go through all the stuff we've talked about, you don't realize it until you're married, and then you say something like that, and I'm like, God, I remember my parents. I remember my mom yelling at my dad because he was snoring all night, and she made him go sleep out on the couch, and waking up to my dad on the couch because he was snoring. Yeah, that's marriage, and they're still married, and he still snores. So that's just, it's part of life. Do I snore? I don't really snore, do I?
No.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
You're lucky. Okay. Marriage is where blowjobs become like currency that can be bartered in order to get shit done. Maybe in other people's marriage. Sex. Let's just say in general, sex is a currency in marriage. Maybe so. All right. Husband. I'm a grown man. Stop mothering me. Also, husband. Have you seen my wallet? Did you bring my jacket? Where'd we park? I don't have any clean underwear. Let's just say that this is just that you were married to a man who is a child. You were always married to a child 24/7. When they're sick, you look like you're dying. And then I've heard that one where men are sick and they're on the couch dying and women are up and cleaning and they're still sick. Yeah. Yeah, you are. You're a baby when you're sick. And I don't need a kid because I have one. I have a big one. I don't need another child. I've got plenty. And it says when your wife starts a sentence with, when you get a chance, just go ahead and start putting on your shoes. She means now. Is that true?
Usually, but if you say when you get a chance, I'll do it when I want to do it. I'm not doing it right now. I'm doing something else. I'm busy. If you want it done now, don't tell me when you get a chance. Say, I need help now.
So
don't hint around. Tell me what you want.
So be
we
specific.
talked about this. Don't assume. If you want it done now, say we need to do it now. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it now.
I can laugh about this because this is 100% true. It's true, and these are all things we've learned in being married this long. And I think the great thing now is that we sit here and we laugh and we joke about it. Because at one point we didn't laugh and joke about it. We took everything so freaking seriously, and we always were so high strung, like in the beginning of the marriage. Someone always had to be right. Someone always had to be wrong. It was so much pressure. And when you marry young, everything's so much more intense. So I'm really quite enjoying being married for this long because it's more of an ease now. We can sit here and laugh and joke about it, and I don't take offense to it. Because why? What's the important? I don't need to take offense to that crap. He's not doing anything rude. That's his personality. It just cracks me up. You know, I know exactly how he's going to react to something, and I know if I want something done, I just probably go do it myself, unless he's in the process of doing something. Or if I do ask and say, when you get a chance, what do? You go, okay, what do you want? I was going to go do something else, but I mean, if you want me to do it now. Yeah, that would. That's usually how that turns out. And I like reading some of these things, and they're quite funny and humorous because, well, a lot of them are true. And I hope you guys can look at your marriage and find a lot of laughter in it, find a lot of joy in being married or being with someone for, even if it's just for a few months now, or you've been married for a long time. You have to find the humor and the joy in some things, because I mean, if you don't, that's life. You need to be able to be happy all the time. And well, I wanted to go through some of those because I wanted you guys to maybe take a minute just to look at your marriage and realize how blessed and how grateful you should be for who you have in your life, for the best friend that you have, for the supporter, for that person who's always there, who deals with your bad moods, who tries to help you in any way they can, who buys you the scrubby brush that you wanted. I mean, I'm 100% grateful for the guy who does all this stuff for me, because I think sometimes we take it for granted. But if you take a minute to step back and see what you actually have and imagine life without them, I think you'd be surprised how grateful you actually are to have them in your life, and to just get over the small stuff. It doesn't matter. You're going to be with this person for hopefully for the rest of your lives, and it's not worth it. It's not worth being mad about stuff. Work through it. Work on it. Work on your marriage for the rest of your lives. Work on yourself for the rest of your lives, and you'll make it. And have some laughs every now and then. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.